Hello, rise and shine. Welcome to an intimate conversation here with me, Alissa, the consultress, your host for this series. And I just wanted to spend some time here today, one on one, and invite you into my crazy world. I am not only a wife, I am a mother, I am a businesswoman, an artist, a friend, a community maker, real estate investor, business coach, strategist, and all around, I feel blessed and enthusiastic about so many things. And there is just a sheer magnitude of priorities and people and passions that I have to navigate on a day-to-day basis. So oftentimes I have felt overwhelmed or that my priorities compete for my attention and my time, just like my kids do, and how to adequately or gracefully get as much accomplished as possible without letting people down or sacrificing time for what really matters to me, my health or my business initiatives or the things that keep food on the table. And being a multipreneur and having many different projects and plates spinning and opportunities at any given moment, I just felt that it was time to have this conversation with you so that you can just get a peek behind the window of really some of the things that I've learned along my path of what it takes to manage all those things and still feel confident and productive and like I'm building every day. Now, life wasn't always as charmed as it is today, where I feel like the better things get, the better they can get in the future. Um, there's a lot of times when in my life I had felt like I couldn't just crawl out from underneath, that it kept piling, the hits kept coming, and when it rains, it pours. Um, and those were really challenging times. And I can't even say from right here that that is, in fact, behind me. I know that life happens in cycles, just like the seasons do, and just like seasons of our life, right? Like seasons of the Mother Nature. Um, different things, our priorities are constantly evolving. I mean, I can remember being a brand new mom and wondering how I could possibly keep up with laundry when the kid was growing into and out of clothes, felt like by the day. And the sheer volume of stuff that was in my house was amazingly complicated because it was all brand new to me. And over time, I feel like I got a handle on kind of how to make things work, and then boom, a new skill set would emerge for that kid, or I'd have another kid, and things just, as I grew and got more masterful at one thing, it boom would shift, and I would need to incorporate something new. I'd have to get more creative and learn how to manage two different personalities when my kids were little, and then you know that was like an analogy. Early motherhood is like an analogy for how I was feeling as an entrepreneur. Having different clients that had different needs. Some would need structural help around their books, or some would need mindset help around how to think of themselves as a owner of their business rather so than the main role or doer in their business. And sometimes folks needed hand holding, and sometimes people needed a kick in the butt. Hence the consultress, right? Sometimes I come with a kick in the ass, and sometimes I come with a hug. It's as needed, very custom. Um, but again, the nature of life is that these things shift all the time. And the nature of growing a business is very much the same as the nature of life, and is very much the same as the nature of relationships. And some of us out here that consider ourselves entrepreneurs, we have sometimes lived with the label of ADD. or ADHD, or, you know, one of my friends lovingly puts it, Super Bowl tendencies, where you bounce all over the place and then wind up feeling spun out, or like you have too many things to do and not enough time. And I can relate. And that's where I really want to just focus a little bit of strategy and tool here today in this intimate conversation, because it's very important to realize that we are the master of our destiny at all times, whether or not it feels like we are. So there's always a choice for us to choose where to deepen our focus and where to decide what actually is distraction, and to be very clear about the difference. The only way to know the difference between an opportunity where we would deepen our focus and a distraction is to be very clear on our priority, what matters most. And I use this tool that I call the 4-quadrant approach, because I need to be able to just grab a sheet of paper, draw a line down the middle, and draw a line across the middle horizontally, and have 4 quadrants available so that at any given time I could deploy this strategy. It's very simple, and I call it my quadrants, or a 4-3-2-1 approach. So we people out here who are multi-passionate, or ADD, I tend not to want to use that term because it makes me feel like I'm broken and need fixing, but this tool helps me to empower myself to stay focused. And 4 is like a beautiful number to me. It represents 4 seasons, it represents the 4 cardinal directions, and it represents the maximum amount of things I can hold in my mental capacity at one time. So when I put this plus through the middle of a big piece of paper or a small piece of paper, I use these 4 different areas to identify the main things going on. And those things can shift and change over time, but bear with me. If you want to do this exercise with me, grab a piece of paper. And in the top left, just think about what's one thing that you really are passionate about moving forward, a project or an initiative. And in another corner, pick an identity piece, something that you're working on personally. And sometimes these things can show up as 4 different work projects. Sometimes they can show up as 4 different initiatives. Or sometimes they can show up as 4 different pieces of your identity. So whatever comes top of mind, just take a moment now and write the 4 most important things that are up for you at this moment. For me, it's family, managing the family calendar, clients, what I'm actually doing to serve those people who are on my roster at the moment, marketing initiatives and visibility, and that includes this right here, this conversation I'm having with you, and being myself, treating myself well, whether that's health physically or mentally or emotionally. So those are my 4. And in the work projects and marketing, and sometimes it's, when I do this plus, it winds up one's real estate, one's client strategy and coaching, another can be my rentals, and then another can be, my partnership with my husband. So it doesn't have to be the end all be all, which is again something that some of us out here who have ever had the problem or the privilege of being a perfectionist, it's okay to have something that is structured for here, just for right now. And so what I want to say next is, we've established the 4. Now let's go into the 3. Identify 3 bullet points in each one of these categories that you've assessed for right now that are top priority for you. And either 3 things that are problems to solve, or things that you're aware of that need to be done. No more than 3 in each box. Because I find with the power of 4 and then 3 is we're getting broad and then more specific with each step. So once you write 3 bullets in each one of these 4 quadrants, 4 boxes, now it's time to choose just 2 that float to the surface as competing for your attention right now, the loudest. And when you identify those 2, isn't it interesting? Many times those 2 are one that affects another, like my sales initiative versus my personal health. For me, is what's coming up in this moment. And I find that it's interesting that those 2 things are competing. Now, one, which is the final step here, come down into, if you only had to work on one, if you only had the ability to take one action in the next week, is there a way that you can perceive this one priority as having a ripple effect on the rest? Because it will. And we often think, no, I need to do all the things. No, I venture to say that narrowing down and getting super specific and really focus on just one thing will allow the rest to follow suit, because now you have clarity. Think 4, 3, 2, 1. And one thing is very easy to take action on. It's very simple to stay focused on. When we make ourselves stay focused on many things, what we're actually doing is investing in our distraction. So thank you for allowing me to share this tool with you, and actually to take a different tack to my Rise and Shine format. I know you're used to seeing me on video, but this was, to me, a more intimate way to share with you what was up for me around distraction or going deep. And this is a tool that I teach in my 90-day sprint program with my clients to help use this tool, use this main organizing theory, principle, to help week to week identify what's most important. And week to week figuring out over a 12-week period what tends to come up the most, that is most important. And as we go through a program together, I help my clients create the strategy that was meant for them. I don't have a crystal ball, nor do I have a stamped out template that works for everybody, just follow this system. But I do have some tools that are tried and true and tested that can help along the way. So, I encourage you and I invite you, if you've ever felt like you have too much to do and not enough time, or you have big dreams and you have many of them, and you're looking to get some clarity and get some action, I want to be able to support that. That's what I'm here in this world to do, is to help people go further, faster together, so that you don't feel alone, but you also don't get lost. Part of the magic of working together with a strategist and a coach like myself is that you get accountability on a week-to-week basis, where, lost to your own devices, you may or may not keep your word to yourself, because we are our own worst enemy. But somehow having an accountability to someone else makes it that much more tangible and that much more real for us. So send me a message, send me a text, and let's have a conversation and see if working together might be something that can benefit you. We'll talk about where you are, and we'll talk about where you want to go, and what you've already tried that has worked or hasn't worked. And if there's an opportunity and a good fit, I'll let you know how we can work together. But for right now, I wish you well, and thank you for trusting me here with your time and attention. I'm really looking forward to having the opportunity to talk to you again in this very intimate way very soon. And in the meantime, I am actively opening my book of clients up for just a few more people to work with me. So if this speaks to you, don't delay. Get in touch with me now by text at 516-782-5428. And I'll let you know where I've got some time in my schedule where we can just sit and have a chat. Because if you've got big dreams like I've got, and you've got big things that you're up to in this world, which if you're here listening, I'm confident that you do, send me a text and let's have a chat. Because It's time to rise and shine. The world needs people who are here to make a difference and live full out and do great things, do more with less time. Thanks again for being here. Rise and shine, and I'll see you soon.